Vault Report, Rhode Island Rams edition. I'm here once again with Rhode Island assistant Kenny Johnson. Let's get right to it. Most recently, comeback win against Yale at home. One of the best victories of the last 2 years, I'd say. What did you and the staff learn from this new group early on in that game?
I mean, we were happy to see the guys battle through adversity. Um, you never can grow in this world unless you go through some agitation, right? You gotta deal with the adversity, push through, persevere. They stuck together, had some great leadership show up in critical moments, great energy. So we were proud to see these guys kind of grow and take that step forward, see some reward for their hard work.
Absolutely. And, since we last talked, you played two tough games at Mohegan. Looking at those games, also the first half at Yale, there's been some runs. Consistency has been something, that the team, I don't want to say struggle with, but how much is that early, just early season, a young group trying to, learn how to play together? But what have you seen in those stretches and where you need to improve within that?
Yeah, I mean, inconsistency, especially with any young group, any team kind of new to each other, is to be expected. Not desired, and not acceptable, but to be expected. The teams we play, you got to give them a lot of credit. I mean, they do a good job. They've been together. They're senior leading teams with a lot of experience. And they cause us some different challenges and different reasons in different games. Great size, so great early competition dealing with the size of some of those teams. You know, honestly, them just playing to their strengths. If you look at Northwestern, with their guard play and their shot making ability, as well as their ability to kind of keep us off the boards to a certain degree. And you look at Washington State with their great interior presence. We knew that guy on the interior was going to be tough. I mean, he had a game of 40 points plus points, previously last year. And then in Yale, being another NCAA tournament team, great coaching staff, great system. So, I mean, that's why you play these non-conference games, to learn a lot about yourself, as much as you're learning about the different opponents you're trying to defeat, figuring out the things that you're doing that are successful early on, the things that need improvement, as you head towards league play. Then you go back and get back in the lab, rinse and repeat, try to get better, try to prepare, try to work hard, keep the right mentality, grow closer together. And that's what the preseason really is all about.
Yeah. No, definitely. And even in those games, obviously a lot of positives, specifically for, just for me looking at that Yale game, coming off those games at Mohegan Sun, you could tell, obviously it must have been a great second half speech, obviously great adjustments the way they came out. One player in particular for me who, I feel like has been one of, if not the most consistent, looking at Zeke Montgomery, his ability, and I just feel like his, confidence on both ends of the floor. How important has he been? And is this kind of what you expected, a guy coming from a winning program who's had success previously?
Yes, honestly. I mean, that's one thing you expect from Zeke is him the way he prepares each day. You're rooting for him and you're expecting him to have consistency, in games. He's trying to step up into a leadership role, if not as much vocally, definitely with his consistent performance, every single day. So, you would expect that from Zeke. I think he's been put into a position to be successful. He's going about it the right way. He's learning daily. His skill set's getting better. In certain areas, he's starting to understand the message that Coach Miller is preaching to him, and the role and the responsibility that the Coach Miller is giving him. I think he's stepping up to the table.
Definitely. And, one guy we talked about, I think previously, obviously, has been Rehab Bilal, a guy that, actually has returned quicker than most had thought. If you would have said a couple months ago, I believe, obviously, a testament to his hard work, the training staff, just the impact that, he has made already. We've seen, obviously, Johnson and Wales, but specifically in the Yale game, I know he's probably still getting his feet underneath him, but just the impact of having a guy like that back on the floor and just the happiness really just to see him back after that kind of injury.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Joseph has a great young man, first and foremost. He's a culture player. He's someone that you want to have in your locker room, someone you want to have on your practice floors, and now for him to be able to have some tangible success in the games, I mean, you're happy for him first and foremost because he works so hard. He wears our training staff out. Our training staff does a great job with him. But Joseph Fett takes his rehab very, very seriously, and I think that's a testament to how quickly he was able to come back to the floor. Still a work in progress with him. You want to take it slow with him. You want to give him the opportunity to grow and feel comfortable. And I think he's very diligent about letting everyone know exactly how he feels. But just being ready when his number is called. Each game is going to present a different challenge. And I think we've shown we have a team full of capable players, capable young men that are able to step up in different situations. I think last game it was Josephat who came in and gave us a spark. Obviously, Brandon Weston gave us a spark. The next game it could be a different guy. I mean, Cam Estevez came in and gave us a great spark. Multiple games so far this year, and it's something that Coach Miller always preaches: just having guys ready for their number to be called, because different opponents are going to require different things to figure it out. Obviously, you enter each game with the goal of winning that game by whatever margin you can come up with to win that game, and that's going to require us obviously growing closer together defensively, but also having all of our troops ready to roll at a given moment.
Absolutely, and that kind of when it goes into my next question. I thought obviously Weston, you mentioned Estevez, have shown those, moments. Bilal again off the bench. I know rotations are still kind of in progress, but what have you liked from in terms of guys being ready when their number is called, and how's that translating, into the competition? Just even at practice. Obviously there's not minutes for everyone, but it seems like it's been a group where you've had, like you said, different guys step up, not just in the starting lineup, but off the bench as well.
Yeah, I think prayerfully our depth will be a strength of ours. But our program is built on competition. And that competition doesn't start when the game starts. I mean, it's built on what we do every single day. It started honestly as we formed this group in the summertime, just trying to figure out, who has that competitive desire within them, and pushing those guys to try to compete every single day, honestly, and that's what shows up in the game time. I think that's why these guys are coming in ready. They compete daily, and they have an opportunity to earn what they get daily. I mean, obviously, everybody wants playing time, but more importantly, we're trying to establish a team where playing time is not as important as the team being successful. And I think that when the guys have the right mentality and they're really focused on our overall team being successful, they're able to come in with a clear mind, ready to perform in a given moment. They're engaged, they're locked in, they're truthfully happy for their performance of their teammates on the floor. And then when the number gets called, that teammate who came out is truthfully happy for that other individual who's in the game doing the job to help our team be successful. And we compete on a daily basis. We really do get after it every day in practice. There are no days off as far as, when we're allowed to be in that gym and we were really getting after it. So with all different combinations. And I think that, for us, while the rotation may not be set in stone, I'm not sure that it'll ever truly be set in stone. I think it's really going to be dependent on, a given night. We'll have a general idea. Obviously, you come in with the game plan of what you expect, but the flexibility to adjust and the players having a mentality where they're willing to accept that flexibility, that variability has been great for us.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think, fans have seen it, just in terms of in the stands, in terms of just the buy-in, it seems, from these guys, which is obviously, great to see and what you guys are trying to build. Providence up next, a big rivalry game. I know you got to experience it, last year for the first time. You can throw out records regardless, in this type of rivalry game. But, you look at Providence, experienced team. We talked about Northwestern, Washington State, and their size. Obviously, Providence has two really experienced guys. Oduro, someone you guys obviously familiar with from last year. But, just what do you guys have to do to be successful going into obviously a very tough environment and, again, a rivalry game?
Yeah, we're really excited about the rivalry portion of it. Anytime your fans are excited, obviously, your players and your program is going to be excited. Although we're a new group, we take it seriously, man. We're excited about the opportunity to go out there and compete, against our rivals and represent. It's our chapter, right, in the rivalry. And honestly, the whole goal is just to be the best version of ourselves. To figure out, I mean, we're growing as a team, and hopefully headed in the right direction. But at the end of the day, our performance is going to be based on how well we gel doing what we do. Staying focused on our non-negotiables and going out there and performing to the best of our abilities, playing extremely hard, being locked in on the game plan, and putting the best foot forward. I mean, you can't ask for a better environment to go out and compete in early in the season. You talk about that the fact that you have to go through adversity to grow as a team. Well, there's no better adversity than going up to the amp to play in that environment in a rivalry game, and you find out a lot about your guys and what they're all about. So we're really looking forward to that, tipping that ball off and getting after it.
Absolutely. No, well, I know the state's looking forward to it. Like I said, one of the highlights of the year, for sure. Not just in Rhode Island, in the region as well. I do have to ask you, you've obviously been in a lot of contentious environments, even think about your time in Louisville. Is there one, the AMP is kind of built, it is one of the top atmospheres, I would say, in college basketball is built to that. What for you is one of the hardest, environments that you just remember coaching at, where you knew going into there, it was just going to be, hell?
I talk about the less obvious ones. I think my first year coaching with Pat Scarry at Towson, we played a guarantee game at Kansas, which obviously we weren't expected to win that game, right? But you go into Kansas and you see that crowd and their attention to detail and their almost like their rituals. I really enjoyed that environment. Being at obviously the hatred between Louisville and Kentucky, you can't really match that. There's a lot of hatred that goes on year round in that matchup. But I think the most hostile crowd that I have seen as in opposition would be when we were number one in the country at Indiana and we went to play at Purdue. That was my first time experiencing having the students or the fans in general out waiting for the bus, and yelling at the bus about 2 blocks away as you prepared to enter to the arena, and then the fans being there, especially the students being there about an hour before tip-off and letting you know throughout your entire pregame warm-up exactly how they felt about you. So there weren't very many Christmas cards that were exchanged. Heard some pretty foul language, and I understand we probably got a little bit of that coming for us on Saturday. So, yeah. I mean, even as a coach, you're not out there playing between the lines, but you're excited to be in those type of environments. I mean, you see how the crowd can impact the game in a positive way. Like even our crowd, where it may not have been the largest crowd against Yale, right? When we're making our run, you gave the crowd something to cheer for. You could feel it. I think it really impacted the game. I mean, the fans that have been in our early games while we're growing, I mean, they've made a great impact on our team. The momentum that we've been able to establish with the crowd pushing us, the excitement, the appreciation, even around town, honestly, everywhere I've been, people have been giving encouraging words and showing support. And I mean, that stuff may seem like cliche, it may seem like it doesn't matter, but it really does. Like the fan support that we're getting early in this season, and hopefully it's building and growing, has been really important to us.
So absolutely, couldn't agree more. And again, even on, I wasn't there, but on the, just on the TV, you could feel, like you said, feel the crowd as well, especially for a game when you have kids going for Thanksgiving. So, thank you, Kenny, as always. Appreciate it. Congrats, obviously, on that win, and good luck this weekend.
That's right. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.